as far as I'm concerned, the mischief is clear. You know, and it's not an isolated mischief. Even we watching the political scene over the last 6 months, you can see the emergence of a certain clear tendency. People who have decided that the December 7th election will be won, not at the polling station, not by counting ballots, but by sowing seeds of discord. You understand? And that's very clear.
Welcome to Sissala Media. Thank you for
now, only last week, I saw a letter purportedly authored by the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress announcing some appointments after his victory in December 7th. And it was obvious what that letter was intended to achieve. And what that letter was intended to achieve is not substantially different from what this publication seeks to achieve. In that letter, for example, and it's turned out to be completely fake, Mr. Kelvin Taylor of Life Silence is nominated or appointed as Minister of Information in the next administration. Stan Dogbe is nominated or appointed as Chief of Staff, you know, and so on and so forth. And the purpose is clear. Why would anybody sit in the comfort of their office, their home, or whatever, and concoct such a letter? Obviously, it's to touch the cohesion of the campaign of the NDC. Why are you worrying yourself when the appointments have been made already? And so on. You know, it's to feed into a certain disarray, you know, perceived disarray and so on. And I can assure the perpetrators of these acts that they will have no effect on the political future of this country and the fortunes of any of the political parties. Because, look, the people of Ghana are so very mature now, and they know what they want. How does the inclusion of Muntaka in the campaign team resolve the question of inflation? How does the inclusion of Huruna Idrisu resolve the question of the sale of SNIT hotels and so on? It doesn't in any way. So the mischief is clear. The mischief is so very clear. Now, my advice to those who engage in this shenanigans is simple. If you want to win the elections, do what the people of Ghana want you to do. And stop this silly, childish, manipulative, you know, fabrications. It takes you nowhere. You understand? Look, Huruna is an extraordinary charismatic figure in the National Democratic Congress. Nobody can underrate Haruna's influence in the National Democratic Congress, no matter what you say about him. I'm a product of the North. I'm a product of Tamale, and I know how much influence he wields. And that influence has come about as a result of the display of modesty and so on. I go to Tamale. I've never met Huruna Idrisu in Tamale sitting at the back of a Land Cruiser and being wheeled around. You are most likely to see him on a motorbike, you know, moving from shed to shed, playing cards, drinking early morning cocoa with his constituents and so on. You know, that simplicity and so on has endeared him to his people. Okay? But it doesn't mean that because of his charisma and popularity and so on, he should be at the center of everything. A campaign team is structured on the basis of principle, on the basis of some criteria and so on. What criteria does he fit in? What is the criteria he fits in? Now, if you look at the whole campaign team, there's only one member of parliament. And that one member of parliament in the campaign team represents the minority as a group. Can Huruna today, in his current position and so on, play that role? Obviously not. You understand? Now, there must be a reason why there's no member of parliament in the campaign team. And I've done my checks, and my checks reveal that the reasoning is that members of parliament and parliamentary candidates need to go to their constituencies and win their constituencies, focus their attention there. Would that not apply to Huruna? Obviously applies to Huruna. You know, so this whole campaign is needless, is senseless, useless propaganda, mischievous, and it has no value at all. And I think it should be dismissed for what it is. Take Muntaka. All the criteria which was set out, and I took my time to read the statement which was issued by the NDC. How does Muntaka fit into any of the criteria which had been set up for membership of the campaign team? I know as a fact, for example, that in the last elections, Honorable Okujato played a key role in the campaign team of the vice presidential candidate. He's no longer there. And why is he no longer there? Is that because there's a defect? He has a defect and so on? Simply because the criteria has been set and it doesn't fall into the criteria. You understand? So this mischief, in fact, is childish mischief. I mean, this mischief is based on the assumption that the people of Ghana are fixated with personalities. We don't care. We don't care. What we want to do is to ensure that there's a certain stability in the prices of foodstuffs and food. Price of kenke is escalating, and has escalated to the extent that now, if you buy kenke in some place, you have to buy the pepper. You understand? You buy your kenke, you buy the pepper. That's what we are worried about. You understand? We are worried about the fact that today the hospitals are not working. The government hospitals are not working because of the strike by lab technicians and so on. We are worried about that. You understand? So those are our worries. I'm sure that we'll come to discuss the state of the economy very soon. So those are worries, not about whether Huruna Idrisu is playing a role or is not playing a role. Very soon, they will come up with another story, and you mark it on the wall, that those who contested John Mahama for the flag bearership are not playing any role. Where is Kojo Bonsu? Where is Kojo Bonsu? It's going to come up very soon, and so on. These are useless, needless, mischievous, pranks, which are not going to take anybody anywhere. I think we better drop it. This is useless, absolutely useless. Useless propaganda. It's mischievous. It doesn't address the core issues, that Ghanaians are confronted with. Absolutely useless. Throw it away.
Well, thank you very much. You can share your views with us here via Facebook and via our WhatsApp number as well. It's on your screens now, so you can send your messages via that channel. But let me say, I'm very impressed with how Mr. Pratt talked about Huruna and Muntaka's issue. Mr. Pratt is really an icon, and I would love to meet him one day. Thank you very much. Mr. Pratt, please.
You see, you guys have taken a certain angle. I'm not interested in that angle. Yeah. My concern is about the bastardization of state institutions. Yeah. The selection of a running mate is an internal NPP matter. Yeah. What is the role of national intelligence in that selection process? Is an NIB also finding out who is likely to be the best presidential candidate of the PNC and the best running mate of the PNC and of the CPP and of all the other formations which are coming up? If it's not, why then is it interested in who becomes the running mate to Dr. Bawumia? It's clearly an abuse of state institutions, and that's where my worry is. Now, if you have the whole National Intelligence Service helping to decide who should become the running mate of Dr. Bawumia, how fair and principled can you expect the National Intelligence Service to be in any dispute, in any conflagration and so on? It becomes aligned to the New Patriotic Party, and that's my worry. Whether Napo is good or bad and so on is completely irrelevant in this discussion. Yeah. The most important relevant issue is the role of the NIB. the National Investigations Bureau. What is its role? Now, again, what are its priorities? Many cases of unresolved murder hinging on national politics. It is not interested in that. You understand? What is its core mandate? Those are the critical issues here. The Vice President himself has made it very clear, as my friend and colleague has said, you know, that who becomes Vice President is not an important issue. He himself has made it very clear. So I'm not going to waste my head on who he selects as his Vice President, given the fact that he's convinced that a Vice President is not key to the resolution of the many problems which confront our people. Why am I going to waste my time on whether it's Napo or whether it's a Fiadonko or whoever? My concern, because if indeed this report has been written, if indeed this survey has been conducted, it has been conducted with state resources. Is that a justifiable use of state resources? Is that a justifiable use of state resources and so on? In any case, in an era such as we find ourselves in, where the most challenged ministry today is the energy ministry, why would you select the energy minister as your running mate? You know, and Kwame, there are so many things about this Dumsor thing which haven't come out. And if they come out, they will speak to a level of incompetence which is unprecedented. Listen, now there's no doubt at all that what is driving the current Dumsor is fuel, lack of fuel. Clear, lack of fuel is what is driving the current Dumsor. Now put your ears to the ground. On May 1st, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo promised that Dumsor was over. Yeah. What gave him that confidence? What gave him that confidence? Why did the president risk everything to announce to us that Dumsor was over? Because funds had been allocated for the importation of fuel to solve the fuel needs of the energy sector. Okay. What happened? My information is that we bought the wrong fuel.
Yes, sir. Oh, wow.
Yes. The president was confident. He knew that funds had been allocated for the supply of fuel and that was going to bring the Dumsor crisis to an end. It is still persisting after today. Why? Check. My information is that we bought the wrong fuel.
Thank you for...
Now, if that information is confirmed, okay, how then do you Master, I think I should stop here. No, I think I should stop here.
All right.
You know, I mean, why? The gentleman we are talking about has been part of this cabinet. E-levy, taxation, all the problems that we have today are decisions of a cabinet to which he belonged, along with Dr. Bawumia. What new is he bringing to the table? You know, in order to assure the people of Ghana that we would have change. Now, if you listen to the propaganda about making him the vice president and so on, when I listen to that propaganda, I cringe. Because a lot of it, more than 50% of that propaganda, is about ethnicity. It's about being Ashanti. Are you not frightened? Are you not frightened? What future do we have when national leaders at that level are chosen primarily on the basis of their ethnicity? I'm frightened, you know. And I have a particular problem. somehow, because of what I have been, what I've done, what I continue to do, and so on, almost everybody in this process is a friend of mine. That's my headache. So I've decided to rise above that, because that is common to everybody. You understand? And therefore, I'm compelled to look at the critical national question.
Yes.
And when I look at the critical national question, NAPO brings nothing on board.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Anyways.
Well,
Thank you for